There is a land where 1 in 8 people are born with fiery red hair. Here, eternal mists embrace the deep black lakes, and the silhouettes of, castles guard the horizon. Where the wild bagpipes were once a strictly forbidden psychological weapon on the battlefield. And the men's kilts, well, were not merely clothing, but symbols of pride and defiance. The first image is a look you can spot across a crowded room. Fair skin that, honestly, freckles in the first hour of sun, eyes of pale blue, green or gray, and hair that runs from deep auburn to bright burning copper. Around 1 in 8 Scots, or roughly 13%, have natural red hair. The global average is barely 1 or 2. The color comes from a recessive variant of a gene called MC1R, sitting on chromosome 16. Both parents have to carry it for a child to be born ginger, which is why red hair can skip whole generations, then reappear like a struck match. Pale freckled skin makes vitamin D far more efficiently in a place where the sun stays shy for most of the year. What looks like a quirk of beauty may really be the body's old answer to a northern sky, and the gene runs deeper than the red you can see. Studies out of Edinburgh suggest that up to 40% of Scots carry at least one copy without ever showing it, with the southeast of the country a particular hotspot. Half the nation, in a quiet sense, is secretly ginger. There is one stranger twist. Natural redheads tend to need more anesthetic, often around 20% more to be put under for surgery, because that same gene changes the way the brain reads pain. A hairdresser can spot a true redhead. So, it turns out, can an anesthetist. Wherever you're watching from, Scotland, the States, Canada, Australia, tell us in the comments and share this with anyone who's got a drop of Scottish blood in them. It helps more people find the real Scotland. Scotland is small enough to drive across in a day, and yet its edges are almost endless. The coastline runs for something close to 18,000 kilometers, over 11,000 miles, which is actually longer than the flight from Scotland to Australia. If you could stretch it out straight, it would reach most of the way around the planet. Scattered along it are more than 900 islands. Only around 118 have people on them. The rest, well, they belong to the birds, the seals, and honestly, the weather. To reach the wildest of it, people now follow a single ribbon of road. The North Coast 516 miles, or 830 kilometers, loops around the far north from Inesi and back. It only opened as a named route in 2015, and already it's earned the nickname Scotland's Route 66. Single-track lanes, sudden white beaches, mountains that fall straight into the sea. Inland, the names carry their own weather. Glen Coe, brooding and steep, where the mist settles in the valley like smoke. The Isle of Skye, crowned by the jagged black ridge of the Coolan Loch Elmen. And remember, a Scottish lake is almost always a loch, said Lochic with that soft catch at the back of the throat. Never a flat loch. Much of the Highlands has barely been built on at all. That emptiness, comes at a price. That emptiness, comes at a price. The weather turns on a coin, and in summer, the air fills with the mij, a biting insect, small enough to ignore one at a time, and numerous enough to clear a beach. The Highlands are honestly just breathtaking. But, they are also at times genuinely hard. If you think this video deserves more attention, please click the hype button below. Each hype only lasts a few seconds, but it helps reach a wider audience. We'd be very grateful, and that open, empty beauty is not as innocent as it looks. We'll come back to the dark price these silent glens once paid. So, what is it actually like to live here day to day? It's honestly warmer than the weather would suggest. The pub in most Scottish towns is less about drinking and more about belonging. It's like, a third place that is neither work nor home, where you can nurse a single drink for an hour and still be welcome. Nobody forces a whiskey on you. Scots are famous for laughing at themselves first. There is, locals like to say, nothing more Scottish than complaining about Scotland. The rain gets a running commentary. The buses get a verdict. And then somebody puts the kettle on. Because the weather here is a house guest who never quite leaves. It rains, it clears, and then, well, it rains again before your tea even goes cold. So, life is built around it. The radiator, with socks drying on top, the good coat by the door, and, there's this quiet pride in not being bothered by a bit of weather. What outsiders call grim, plenty of people here call peace. No hustle. And then there's the thing visitors always point at, the men in skirts. Except, it isn't a skirt. It's the kilt. Knee length, woven from tartan wool, pleated deep at the back, worn with a small pouch called a sporran, hanging at the front. Most Scots don't wear one to the shops. They keep it for the big days, weddings, the Highland games, or maybe a national football match. And on those days, a kilt is worn like a flag you can put on your body. Its ancestor, the great kilt, made plain sense in a wet, cold land. One long piece of cloth you could belt by day and sleep under by night. To really belong here, though, there's one test you have to pass before any other: the way you say the words. If you want to understand Scotland, watch how it greets the dark. New Year here isn't just a night, it's Hogmanay, one of the biggest New Year celebrations on the planet, old enough to carry echoes of Viking midwinter feasts. The Edinburgh street party has drawn crowds of around 80,000. At the bells, they cross arms, take hands, and sing Old Lang Syne, words written by the poet Robert Burns. Then they send the first visitor across the threshold for luck, a custom called first footing. Further north in Shetland, the fire turns literal. Ahelia is, well, a Viking fire festival born in the 1880s, where close to 1,000 people carry flaming torches through the winter dark and then burn a full-size replica Viking longship to the ground. There are around a dozen of these fire festivals across a single Shetland winter. For most of its history, the main squad was men only. That has just changed. Lerwick let women and girls march in the squads from 2023, and in 2024, the principal Jarl squad included 4 of them, a daughter and 3 granddaughters of the lead Viking. 140-year tradition quietly rewritten in a single winter. Summer brings the Highland games. Men toss the caber, a tree trunk longer than they are tall, end over end. There are hammer throws, pipers, dancers. The Brar gathering on the first Saturday of September often draws the royal family. And every January, Burns Night sets the table with haggis, neeps, and tatties, and poetry read aloud to a plate of food. Behind the fire and the games stand symbols older than any festival, including a national animal that never drew a single breath. Every country picks an animal to stand for it. Most choose something real. An eagle, a lion, a bear. Scotland chose a unicorn. The mythical horned horse has sat on the royal arms since around the 12th century, and it is almost always drawn bound in a golden chain. The meaning is deliberate. The unicorn was said to be the proudest, wildest creature alive, strong enough that only chains could ever hold it. A nation that picks an untamable myth is telling you something about how it sees itself. Its flag is just as old in spirit. The Salir, a white diagonal cross on a sky blue field, is one of the oldest national flags still in use. Its origin is tied to a legend from a battle in the year 830, when white clouds were said to form a cross across a blue sky before a Pictish victory. Some call it the oldest flag in the world. The honest answer is that it's among the very oldest, and that is remarkable enough. Then there's tartan, the woven check now sold the world over with roots in Scotland reaching back some 17 centuries. The British state took it seriously enough to ban the kilt and tartan after the Jacobite Rising of 1746, lifting the ban only in 1782. And the national flower is a thistle, a spiked purple weed. honored by legend because a barefoot Norse raider is said to have stepped on one, cried out in the dark, and lost the element of surprise. Symbols feed the soul, but what about the stomach? Scotland's food and drink are every bit as stubborn. Most countries lose to Coca-Cola. Scotland is the one place on earth where a homegrown soft drink has outsold it for more than a century. It's called Iron Brew, said Iron Brew. A bright orange fizz the color of rust with a taste nobody can quite describe and everybody recognizes. Scotland has around 150 working whiskey distilleries. The word itself comes from the Gaelic usaba, the water of life, which tells you exactly how seriously it is taken. Each region pours a different character into the glass, from soft and honeyed to smoke and sea salt. And no food is more misunderstood than haggis, a savory pudding of sheep's heart, liver, and lungs with oats and spice traditionally piped to the table on Burns night. Here is the fact that surprises people. Haggis is not and never has been banned in Scotland. It's the United States that has restricted it since 1971 because the traditional recipe uses sheep lung. After more than 50 years, a lung-free version is finally heading for American shelves, aimed at Burns Night in January 2026, a national dish coming home from exile. Eat well, then step into the mist, because after dark, Scotland's stories get a great deal stranger. Deep in the Highlands lies the most famous stretch of fresh water in the world, Loch Ness. And, Loch Ness is not actually the deepest in Scotland. That title belongs to Loch Mar, but it holds more water than every lake in England and Wales combined. We're talking around 7,000 million cubic meters, making it the largest body of fresh water in the British Isles by volume. Water that dark, that deep, and that vast keeps its secrets, which is, of course, where Nessie is said to swim. Above the water stands stone. Scotland once had somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 castles, close to one for every 100 square miles, and around 65 still stand, more or less whole. From Edinburgh and Stirling to the much photographed Donan on its little island. But the oldest monuments here make the castles look young. On the Isle of Lewis stand the Callinish stones, a great cross of standing stones raised between roughly 2,900 and 2,600 before the Common Era. Older than the main circle at Stonehenge, 5,000 years on, no one can say for certain why they were placed there. Some things even the locals will admit this land simply hasn't explained yet. And yet, the most haunting story of the Highlands isn't a monster at all. It's the question of why these breathtaking glens are so empty. Look at a Highland glen today, and you might call it untouched. It isn't. It's empty. For roughly a century, from around 1750 to 1860, in the years after the clans were broken at the Battle of Culloden, landlords cleared their own people off the land to make room for something more profitable: sheep. As many as 100,000 men, women, and children were pushed out of the valleys their families had farmed for generations. These glens aren't silent because nobody ever wanted them. They're silent because someone wanted sheep more. Some families were given days to leave. In places, the roofs of their cottages were set alight behind them so they could not return. Real fire this time, with nothing to celebrate.